Hi, Stella. Yeah. Pretty cute, right? Hi, Book. Stella, let me love you, sister. Hi, Luna. Hi, pretty cute.
Well, hi guys! My name is Jackson and you are watching episode 12 of the Knit in the Grid podcast. This is my platform for chatting about knitty things and other crafty stuff that I am doing. I actually wrote show notes today, so because there's a lot to cover. This is going to be pretty long probably. But anyways, you can find me on Instagram at the Knit in the Grid. I will have it down below so it's easy to find, / it's a very long Instagram handle. And I'm also on Ravelry as JacksonRoe. And I will also have my project page linked below to Ravelry, so y'all can go and easily find what I'm talking about today and any links to patterns and things like that there. So, hello. Hi. Okay, you want to say hi?
No.
Brandon just walked in. Anyways, let's get started because I have a lot of knitting to talk about. There's also a big elephant in the room, and I am wearing it, and it's just fuzzy. There are technically 2 elephants in the room, but y'all haven't seen the other one yet, so. This is my No Frills Sweater by Petite Knit. I did the medium size, and it's a tiny bit see-through, so you can see that I have like a tank top thing underneath. But this is in Hue Loco's yarn, her Frills sock base in the Fig colorway, which is this lovely peachy pink and kind of orangish speckled yarn. And then I held it also with Hue Loco's Mohair base in the Snowshoes colorway, which is pretty much just a bare kind of plain white mohair. And it is super lovely. It is very soft. Like, look at that halo. And I finished this a few weeks ago, and in regards to like some of the fit stuff that was happening with this, it did grow a little bit in blocking in terms of lengthwise, but it is a slightly cropped body, at least for me. I would have preferred the body to have been a little bit longer, but I wasn't sure if I had enough yarn. I ended up having a ton of yarn left over, but yeah. And the only real modifications that I did to this pattern was making the cuffs a couple of centimeters longer, which I'm really glad I did. And I'm not sure if the designer, like, her name is Petite Knit, so I'm assuming that means she is petite. So I'm not sure if the sizing for her patterns is geared more towards just people with a little bit more of a smaller stature, maybe not as lanky in the limbs department. I am 5'8" and I am pretty much ahead on legs. So my arms are really long, my legs are really long. So in order to not look so short up top, I need things a little bit longer, and I had to make the sleeves a little bit longer in order for it to be more proportional for me. But I really, really love this sweater. The one thing that I wish I had done differently though was I wish I had done a looser cast on the neck. I've been having some issues because I have worn this out with it kind of moving up on my neck and kind of rolling a little bit in the very front. And I think that's just because of my cast on edge, and then there is short row shaping, but I probably could have used a little bit more short row shaping, so this would have dropped down a little bit more. But that is this sweater. And now I shall do a magical change into my next finished object. Voila! This is the Sunday sweater. Let's see if I can move back a little bit. Whoop! Nope. This is the Sunday sweater, also by Petite Knit. This is an Aran weight sweater, and so it's very, very thick, but it's knitted kind of a loose gauge, or at least I had to knit it at a loose gauge in order to meet the gauge. Anyways, I also did this in the size medium, and I don't know what happened, but my sleeves grew a ton. So I've got like these super long balloon sleeves that ended up happening. But this is a really fun knit and I really like it. The one thing, there is a finishing thing where you detail, where you roll the neck down and tack it down. But again, as I had the same issue I'm having with the other sweater, I'm also having with this one where I cast it on a little bit too tight. It was fine to get it over my head, but I also didn't do, I don't think I did the, I think I misread the directions for the neckline and ended up doing how long the neck needed to be, or the like ribbing for the neck needed to be for the finished neck, and not for the amount that I was actually supposed to knit, because it was supposed to be longer and then you're supposed to roll it down. But it's 4 centimeters, which is how much you're supposed to roll down. I don't know. Whatever. But this is in Hey Sister Yarn Co.'s Aran Tweed, and their Mohair in the Smitten colorway. I did alternate skeins, but I didn't bother doing it on the sleeves. I was also super afraid that I was going to run out of mohair. I have like this little tiny nubbin left over. But it was enough. I made it. And I'm not quite sure how much wear I'll get out of this. I don't know if y'all can see. But the whole sweater grew a lot in the blocking process. And whereas before I blocked it, it fit really nice. And it's like the stitches look great and everything, and you know, certain parts that I did want to loosened up, but then it just grew a lot more than what I was originally expecting it to. So I'm probably gonna have to play around a little bit with this, try it out with some things in my wardrobe and figure out how I want to wear it. I also think probably what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some elastic and I'm gonna just kind of tack some elastic in the sleeves. Because you are supposed to do the ribbing really tight and bind off really tight. But I guess I wasn't tight enough. So I'm probably going to put some elastic in there in order to kind of help keep the sleeves where they're supposed to be, and so I can still enjoy the balloon sleeve stuff that is going on here, which is, you know, that was like a big drawing point for me doing this sweater. But we'll just have to see how that turns out. You know, some of these things, you never know what's going to happen. I did swatch for this sweater, and so I'm kind of surprised that I'm having some of these growth fit issues. But it was such a long time ago, I don't remember if I wet blocked my swatch to see if it would grow or anything like that, which might have been what I needed to do. But anywho, that's 2 sweaters done in the month of March, and that's pretty exciting. It was pretty much just a bunch of sleeve island for a month or so, and so it's nice to have like all of this done, and that frees up a lot of my knitting time. I can devote it to some of my other projects that have been sitting around, which I do have another sweater that is on the needles, but I'm not gonna talk about it in this episode because I haven't really worked on it. But frees up some time with some of my other projects. My only other largish projects right now are shawls, and then I have like a lot of socks. But it is very warm in here, so I'm going to change into a t-shirt. So, one second. Now I have to get the mohair off of my face. Anyways, so a lot's been getting done with my social distancing knitting, you know. I'm sure that's happening for everybody right now. But so that's it for my finished objects. 2 sweaters checked off of my project page. Next up, I'm going to talk about my socks that I'm currently working on. I do have quite a few. And they're in this little tower of projects. So I'm going to start off with my current sock that is kind of like a half finished object. I have 2. First up is my heel toe do-si-do socks. These are knit out of Nomadic Yarns Squat Gourds colorway on her tweed sock base. So super duper lovely. Here you can see the striping that's happening here. And like all the tweedy goodness. It's really cute. And I have not put a heel in it yet. But I'm going to do heels all at once. So once I finish the second sock. Which right now I'm just doing the twisted rib that I do for socks. And I think I have like 4 more rows to go, and then I actually get started on the pattern. The heel toe do-si-do sock pattern is by Kay from who's the crazy sock lady. I'm drawing a blank on her last name. But super great pattern. It's really fun and really easy and a really fast to memorize pattern. That is my first sock I'm going to talk about. My next sock is also a half finished object. This has not been blocked yet, but this is, I'm calling these my like vacation socks. But so these are just a really basic twisted rib sock, like a vanilla twisted rib sock. And this is in Hugh Loco's Aloha colorway on her glitz sock base, so it's sparkly. I don't know if that'll show up. And then I've got like this seafoam mini that I'm using for the cuff and the toe. It is an autumn and indigo mini that I got in a little pack, but there were no colorway names, so I don't know what the color is. But these are really cute. Prior to Corona, my family and I and my fiance and my sister's boyfriend were all going to go to Hawaii for vacation. That's kind of up in the air right now, but it's not until, like, if we are able to go, that won't be until like the end of May, but who knows how long this is going to last. So, but anywho, either way, I wanted some fun colorful socks. I usually get pretty cold on planes, so I was thinking it'd be nice to have some vacation specific fun socks to wear on the plane, or you know, when kind of like laying about. And I just wanted something really colorful to work on, and these have been bringing a lot of joy because, like, how can they not? Look at all those colors. I do believe that the Aloha colorway is being retired by Hugh Loco. They might still have some skeins in the shop. I'm not sure. Last I checked, there was only like maybe 3 skeins on different bases kind of deal, because she has been retiring a bunch of colorways to make room for new stuff. But these are really cute. They're living in my little knitting Nelly bag. And yeah, so I'm excited to have those done. I think they will be nice, and they can be kind of more summer specific socks to wear, because I usually wear socks that I'm like lounging around or just in the house. I don't really wear them out if I made them, but that's just because I kind of, the way I wear my shoes, I guess, and the way I walk, there tends to be a lot of wear, especially around the toes. And I have a darning egg now, but I do not want to have to darn socks yet. But those are those. And then next up, This is a Jenna Rose bag. She has a store on Etsy, I believe. She's based out of Canada, but she hand prints her own fabric. Ooh, fluff. They're really, really cute. And in here I have my highly edited Snowfall Socks. This is a pattern by Tabitha Gandy, and I picked the wrong yarn to be doing this particular pattern with, but oh well, we're making do. So I did 2 pattern repeats up here, realized that the pattern wasn't going to really show up. It's not something you can see with your naked eye. I doubt it's showing up very well on camera. So what I ended up doing is I finished up the 2 repeats that I was working on, and then it already kind of has a little bit of a ribbed pattern throughout the sock, and so I just took the decorative pattern out and continued the ribbing that was happening, so so that would then I could continue working on these socks, and you know, didn't feel like I was kind of wasting my time by doing a pattern that I couldn't visually enjoy on my socks. But I am doing an Eye of Partridge heel flap, and this is the Mr. Grinch colorway from Bad Wolf Girl Studios. I believe that's what it is. She's Bad Wolf Girl and everything, like she has a podcast, she has an Etsy store, all that stuff, and she designs patterns and what have you. But anyways, super cute, very colorful and speckly. There's some fun variegated stripes happening, and then you know, bright Grinchy green popping up places. So this has been really fun. I had Brandon pick out what socks I'd be making myself for Christmas this past year, and just never made a ton of progress on them around Christmas because I was still trying to finish up socks for other people. But anyways, I have this going. This is the first sock. Once I get the heel flap done though, it'll be pretty fast, like pretty soon I'll have it like completed, and then I can start on the second one because I'm holding off. There's a ton of socks I want to knit right now. I have a little pile over here of yarn specifically for socks I want to knit right now. So I have to get a full pair of socks off the needles before I can start any of the new ones. That's kind of my little personal, those are like my little parameters that I'm setting for myself with my knitting right now, because I'm pretty sure I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I have 5 socks on the needles right now. Is that bad? No. Do I want to have them off the needles? Yes. So that's what these parameters are for. Those are those. And then another Tabitha Gandy sock project on the needles. I started this back in December. These are my first snow socks. This is Tabitha Gandy's pattern for the 2nd annual Ugly Christmas Sweater Sock Party that Hey Sister Yarn Co. put on. I'm obviously very behind, but it's fine. It's fine. They'll get done. I have finished up the leg, and I'm at the place where I need to start the heel flap, and I've just been very, very lazy about going and updating my pattern on Ravelry and starting the heel flap. So, yeah, I need to do that because these were flying when I started them. It is, they're the kit that they put together for this, and it is I believe their Geronimo sock base held double with Mohair. So it's like a sport DK weight kind of thing, and you're on bigger needles, and it's not as many stitches on the needles. So there's a ton of reasons why I should have gotten these done a lot faster, but whatever. It's fine. So I'm going to update my pattern probably later on today, and we're going to have that ready to go. So whenever I feel like picking this up, I can get the heel flap over and done with. But this is the first one as well. I did kind of screw up on the pattern here. So you see how there's a little stitch up here. I did not see that when I was kind of not paying attention to my pattern and was just like, let's knit, let's do this. And I forgot to add it down here. But I'm just going to make the same mistake on the second pair of socks, so they both look the same, so it doesn't really matter. It's pretty minor anyways. It's just one stitch, so yeah. So this is just living in a Target bag, or Target basket bucket thing. These are very handy, and also they have been stacking into each other, and I can fit a ton of other project bags on top, so I can keep everything kind of in the same place. It's been very nice. And then last but not least are the socks I'm making for Brandon in this cute little bag that I do not remember who made this, but it was a maker off of Etsy, and they do little flannel project bags, and I really liked it because I wanted a bag that could be specifically for I really like the Hue Loco backyard chicken collections that she's been putting out, so I wanted to have a bag specific for that. Anyways, so this is the backyard chicken collection from 2018, and this is the Welsummer Rooster. Focus on this. There we go. So this is the Welsummer Rooster from 2018. I had Brandon pick out one that he liked, and he liked this particular sock set because it reminded him of chickens that his granddad had. But anyways, so I finished the cuff. I striped in the two minis that are in this sock set. Here's all the yarn together. And I started a pattern that I'm not sure if I like or not. So I might have to rip back. I really don't want to have to, because the main thing I don't like is that I was trying to rib the back section, and just number wise it ended up being like the only way that I could make that work was by doing a 1x1 rib, and yeah, so I don't like it. So I might have, so theoretically I could keep that little bit of 1x1 rib, do it on the other sock just to like keep it cinched at the top, but we'll see. I might knit on it a little bit more, see how I feel about it, and just stop doing the rib on the back of the leg. But it's just one of those things that we'll have to see. I'm kind of like playing around with some texture and kind of just winging what I'm doing, but you can't see very much because I've only done probably 2, 4, 5, like 6 rows, I think. So not much progress has been made, but oh well. Since I wasn't too happy with how it was initially turning out, that's why it hasn't seen much love. But anyways, I did get past the cuff, and I do like how the little striping is happening. I'm going to add more stripes in the leg with the minis, and I think I'll probably do contrasting heels and toes, but we'll just have to see. I don't want to use up all of my minis doing the stripes and or doing the heels and toes and or running out and stuff, because I want to also stripe. But we'll see how that turns out. I'll just have to play around with it and just see what happens. That is it for my socks. By no means is it for everything else that I'm working on though. So next up, in my original fringe field bag that my mom got me, I have my Bennet sister shawl. I'm not in the middle of the row, am I? No, I'm not. Okay, cool. I have added a number of rows onto this in recent weeks, and I'm working on not traveling exactly, but like expanding this stockinette section, because for the most part this is all garter stitch. And Mohair. I'm really loving this. This I have sitting on the couch right now for the most part for when I feel like knitting, now that I'm done with my big sweaters. So this is like kind of my next project that I'm trying to put a lot of love into in order to get it done, because it has also been on the needles for a very long time. But this is the Bennet Sister Shawl by Lindsay Fowler, and I am doing this in the Woolberry Fiber Co.'s Elizabeth kit. She is my favorite Pride and Prejudice Bennet sister, and I just really love this blue, and I thought this would be the most wearable kit for me, like with what I have in my wardrobe and the colors that I gravitate towards. I figured this would be the one that would fit the best into what I have. But there's a ton of really pretty kits on there. So this is, we have the Chasing Clouds colorway here on, I believe, Berry Sock. And then this is the Persian Rug colorway on Mohair. And I'm really excited to add this in. I think it'll be really, really pretty holding these two double, and I'm just really excited to see how this plays in the knitting. So I still have a ways to go until I get there, but you know, that's giving me a lot of motivation to work on this, because I am pretty close. I think I'm less than 20 not rows, probably like less than 20 repeats away from doing that. So we're getting there. We're getting close to the middle, and it's very, very exciting. And this is so squishy and fun. So I'm pumped. This is our main focus for the most part, other than knitting on socks and stuff. This is the big project focus at the moment. I also feel like it's a very springy color and shawl pattern, so I'd like to have it done in order to like wear it, even though it has gotten very hot here like overnight. We had record highs in the mid 80s the past 2 days, so it has been incredibly toasty. And then next up, kind of following the shawl kind of discussion, is my Habitation Throw. This is a pattern by Helen Stewart from her 2019 Knit Vent. And we have made some good progress on this. I added a couple of color stripes in, I think about 3 last time I picked this up. So I haven't worked on this in a few weeks. I have tried filming this particular episode. I think this is the 3rd time. So I haven't picked this up in a little bit, but this is like really, really potato chippy, and I just kind of want it done by Christmas of this year. This is in the very cute and probably one of my favorite project bags. Brandon got this for me for my birthday this past year, along with some yarn. So I don't know who made it, but it's the Marauders map. And so I'm housing my Year 3 Christmas at Hogwarts Advent Calendar project, which is this. This is the Christmas at Hogwarts Year 3 Advent that Dragon Horde Yarn and Yarn Cafe Creations collaborated on. So it's inspired off of The Prisoner of Azkaban, which is my favorite book and movie. So of course it has to be in this bag, and I had to get that advent calendar because it's my favorite. I was watching it the other day. It was really nice. But anywho, so this is, oh gosh, now I have to, where is it? I have the thing that says what colorways these are somewhere. No, I don't know where it is. Oh, I have it listed on my projects page for this. So if you're curious as to what the colorway names are, I am going in day order. So this is day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, and day 7. and I think so that means there's like 5 more color stripes I'll be putting in before I hit the middle, and then I will start decreasing. So there will be 12 advent minis on each side, unless I decide to take some of the full skein that came with the advent and implementing it in the middle to make it a little bit longer. We'll see how that happens if I decide to do that. But I really like this. I've been magic knotting my mini skeins together, so they're just tied in there. I didn't want to deal with weaving in ends or anything like that, even though it wouldn't have been difficult. But that's what I was doing. Got some festive Harry Potter stitch markers and Christmas stitch markers on there, which I can probably move around. But I really, really love this. It is a very easy, beginner-friendly pattern. Helen Stewart writes really great stuff. She's a wonderful pattern designer. And that is it for my kind of shawl, even though this is technically, it's called a throw, but I don't think I'm going to have enough. I don't think my minis will make it into a throw. It'll be probably pretty small. But let's see if I can get this back in here. Getting caught on my engagement ring. And then my last work in progress that I'm going to talk about, this is also in a knitting nelly bag, my Oslo hat. This is another pattern by Petite Knit. This is the Mohair edition. So I am holding fingering with Mohair, and this is Haste Yarn Co.'s Drizzle colorway. This is one of my favorite colorways, and I'm really sad they aren't dyeing anymore, because this I want like a ton of this yarn. I want socks and all the things made out of this color, because it's like the perfect caramel chocolatey brown color. But so this will be a hat, and I put on a few rows on this, but it hasn't been something I've been picking up a ton. I do need more hats. I realized this past winter, and I made this particular hat version for my sister for Christmas, and it flew off the needles, but then since I casted this on right after finishing it, it's something that I haven't picked up because it's not like a new pattern. And I'm not one to normally knit the same pattern like more than once. And I'm also, and since that's the case, like having casted this on like immediately after casting off the other one was kind of like a stupid move on my end, but I was also like, I need this hat. I need it for me. But it'll get done. And I've mainly been putting off working on some of my smaller projects like socks and things like that, because I have wanted to get my sweaters off the needles. I wanted to have them off the needles in order to have engagement photos, but that is also another thing that's getting put on hold right now and stuff, because I'm not going to make our photographer drive all the way out here while everyone should be social distancing and, you know, kind of staying home. Seems kind of pointless and also not safe. But anyways, so that's in here. And I'm looking forward to, you know, picking steam back up on a lot of my whips that haven't been getting as much love. I also was working on my mittens the other day, but that was like 2 rows, so I'm not going to bother showing them. But I have moved them out of hibernation on my Ravelry projects page. So if you're curious as to what mittens I'm talking about, they're the Evia mittens by Ellie of Skein Deer Knits. And I have a full project page for that. But I do have some like future knitting that I am looking forward to doing. Since I've casted off sweaters, I want to cast on sweaters, of course. So kind of the things that are next up, but again, I want to get some more stuff done on my current whips before I start any other big projects. But I did swatch So, yeah. Anywho, I swatched for the Mid-Coast Sweater by Jennifer Steingass. And yeah, so this is Brooklyn Tweed Loft in the cast iron colorway, Wood Smoke, which is like this kind of warm brownish gray, and the Ember colorway, which is very orange, so it looks very Halloween-y. But I was inspired by the colors that Jennifer Steingass had used in her particular sweater that she has most of her pictures in for this. I think all of her pictures are in colorways similar to this, but she used a different type of yarn. But I really like Brooklyn Tweed. I was wearing my Grutter sweater the other day, and I was like, I need to make another sweater out of Brooklyn Tweed. That'd be nice. So that's what we're doing. And I wanted something that was going to be pretty high contrast and cozy and warm. So this is what I chose. So this is Brooklyn Tweed Loft. And this thing is so light and it looks so good. And I knit this in the round and I steeked it, which I have never done before, but I'm really glad I did. Mainly because that means my gauge is a bit more accurate since I will be working in the round. This is a top-down sweater, so you know you're going around and around and around. So that means my my color work gauge is on point for that. But I love how this looks. I think this is like a really pretty swatch, so I'm actually gonna pin it to my to the wall above my desk. But that is the first of one of the many things that I want to knit. Next up, I also swatched. This is Brooklyn Tweed Shelter in the Snowbound colorway. I really, really love this. This is one of the colors in my Evia mittens, and I just really, really liked it. This is going to become a Weekender pullover by Andrea Mowry. I bought this pattern forever ago, and one of my things with 2020 is I want to like knit through some of my yarn that's been just sitting, because I love looking at it, but I want physical pretty things like socks and stuff out of it. But I also want to knit through a lot of the patterns I've already bought on Ravelry. So I've had the Weekender since it came out. I bought the pattern and I never did anything about it. I haven't made it. So we're finally going to make a Weekender, and we swatched for both of these sweaters in one day, and my gauge is on point. I don't have to, I'm not gonna have to make multiple swatches to fiddle around with needle sizes, which I'm really thankful for, mainly because this took a while. This was as you can tell, it's quite the big swatch. Mainly because I was working on like 12-ish inch circular needles. So, but I wanted to use the Chowgu needle set that I'll be using for these particular sweaters, so I wanted to make sure that my gauge was going to be correct with those. But anyways, so I swatched for those two sweaters. I'm very, very excited. I am pinning my swatches to the wall. It's also a friendly reminder to myself, you should swatch before you start big projects instead of just winging it. I'll put this back up on my wall after this, and just very excited for that. I also have a bunch of yarn that is caked up and ready to go as soon as I get socks off of the needles. So I've got two socks that I am on the second sock for. So, but I have four sock yarn / sock kits caked up ready to go for whenever I cast something off. So first up, this is I believe this is Woolberry Fiber Coast Vanilla Pumpkin Latte or Pumpkin Latte sock set from this fall. Super duper beautiful. I love these colors. and I'm really, really excited to make some socks out of these. I am very tempted to do the Coffee Talk socks by Tracy from Grocery Girls. They're really, really cute, and I kind of was reminded that they're a beautiful sock pattern. I also have it sitting in my Ravelry library, if I'm not mistaken, and I like remembered that I really like this pattern because my sister is looking at starting a pair of socks really soon since she's having to work from home in DC. And I sent it to her as a, a suggestion as a first sock, because she wanted something. She's a lot like me, where she wants something interesting and fun and engaging, especially when it's like something new, but also not, it doesn't have to be like crazy difficult, but like something just to keep like the interest going. So I thought those would be a potential very good beginner sock pattern. And I think she might be doing it. She liked the link I sent, so on our little text message thread that we were having. But I was thinking, as I was sending it to her, I was like, oh, this might be the socks I need to do out of these. Partially because they're like a latte themed sock set, and then it's a coffee themed, not themed, but coffee inspired kind of pattern. So these are caked up, ready to go, and I think that'll be my next sock on the needles. And then I also have another sock set, and this is the Smoky Mountains National Park colorway sock set that Explorer Knits and Fiber and Knits, I forget, she did a whole collection of national parks, and I got the Smoky Mountains one because Brandon and I have been to the Smoky Mountains together with his family, and I really, really liked it. So of course had to get the sock set for that. Not sure what these will be. These might just be vanilla rib socks because I've been really enjoying those types of socks. And then I was feeling something colorful and something with purple in it. So I wound up this massive skein. This is Hue Loco's Moonstone colorway on their Spun XL sock base. So this is an 80-10-10 merino cashmere nylon sock base, but it's 150 grams of yarn. So it's really big, so I can make some very big, very cozy tall socks, which will probably be what these are. These are going to be probably longer in the leg than normal for me, and yeah, so they'll just be really, really cozy. I might do kind of campy looking socks out of these, but I wanted something purpley with lots of bright speckles and colors in here, and there's a lot of pink and kind of like burgundy browns and like ultraviolet and just really, really pretty colors. And so skein that up, and then because I have one pair of Christmas socks on the needles, I'm going to, once I cast off that pair of Christmas socks, we're casting on another pair. So this is Sweet Sparrow yarn in, I believe, her magpie base. It's her sparkly base with gold stellina, and this is the peppermint mocha colorway. So it's got lots of pinky reddish speckles with like brown and cream variegation happening. So once my current pair of Christmas socks are off the needles, these will be casted on. So yeah, that is it for my knitting. Now on to my other works in progresses. My other works in progress, but in my like needlework category. So, if you are new to this channel, I needlepoint, and I am also, well, this is like only like my second cross stitch pattern, but I have started cross stitching, or I started cross stitching last summer, but I learned to needlepoint when I was really little, and I really enjoy it. I have too many crafty hobbies to actually, I guess, get things done in a timely manner, so, you know, this is what happens. None of these are finished. I haven't finished a needlework project in a very, very long time. But we're getting close with, you know, getting some big sections on some of these projects done. So I'm going to start off talking about my needlepoint. So this is my cute commemorative needlepoint that I was doing for when I was working at Netflix last summer, a little spring, summer into fall.
Shooting in the city.
So I wanted to do a Halloween themed needlepoint project, which is what this is. It was very cute. I am very, very close to being done with this sparkly background color that I'm doing. So I'm right here, and I just need to get down there, and then I'll be working on the owl, and that'll go by a lot faster. But got everything in a Ziploc baggie for this. I find that works best for me for keeping my needle projects kind of all together. So all the threads are in there. I know what project I'm grabbing. I can see it, stare at it, be like, oh, I should work on that at some point. Let's see if I can get this back in here. But this is just a basic tent stitch. And then my other needlepoint project I hadn't picked up for a very long time, but I finally did, and I made some good progress on this. So this is going to be a cute little frame ornament that I'm making for our puppies. We have 2 golden retrievers, and I'm going to have this finished as a frame and put a picture of them in there to have out at Christmas. I am doing kind of like a decorative cross stitch inspired stitch pattern here on the wood slats, and I was really enjoying that. It was making it go by a lot faster, and I think it looks really good. It kind of, I think of this as more of like a gingerbread dog house than it being like a real wood dog house. So I thought the little cross stitch styled stitches made it look a lot more like someone had taken icing and gone all along the wood slats, and it just looks really cute. I'm really excited. I need to go in and do the dark brown on this side like I've done on this side, and then I'll just be finishing up this top portion. So this one's been going by pretty fast because we're now kind of on the more interesting parts. I've gotten most of the red done on here. I've got a few spots like on this bow and here done, or need to get done, but I've done like the red all around here and here and here and down here. And then it'll be green and white. So we're making good progress. I'm really, really enjoying this. This is a kit that I had. I buy all of my needlepoint projects off of needlepoint.com, and they do have the option for you to buy threads with your projects, which is usually what I opt for because I don't have any needlepoint stores near where I am. So I have to make do with buying my stuff online, and it's a lot easier to either have them buy matching like wool floss, or have them pick what they think would be good. So I tend to get something kind of interesting. So I had them pick the threads that they thought would work best. So I've got some sparkly threads to use where there's snow, and I'm actually really, really enjoying that. I like having that option. Kind of makes it fun when the project arrives too. Because you're like, oh, this is what we're gonna be doing. It's kind of like you have like a little surprise when it arrives in the mail. And then my cross stitch project that I am working on This is the Gingerbread Trio, and it is by Little House Needleworks. So that's what it'll look like when it's all done. And I was working on this the other day. And like I said earlier, I'm very new to cross stitch. So I was watching someone on YouTube talk about their cross stitch, and they were like, you always start from the right and at the bottom or whatever, or like from the top right, something like that. And I started from the left and went left to right. And I was like, oh, well, I guess that might have made it a little bit easier to have started from the left, but oh well. So I am almost done with all of the little, I guess, kind of like pine needle boughs up here. I've got I have to finish, I believe, yeah. So I have to finish this little one right here, and then it's just those 3 down there. And then I will be done with this, this kind of main border that's happening up here. And then I just have to add in a few stars and some little berry type stuff. But I imagine that will go by a lot faster. These are kind of, to me at least, the little tree limbs are a little finicky to do, and it could just be because I am inexperienced, but whatever. Sometimes you just gotta dive in and figure it out as you go. But I do have this little white border over here done, and then I will add in the other one over here. My plan of attack is pretty much to do the whole border, and then we'll go in and do the middle, because I figured that'll make it the easiest for me in order to have everything placed where it needs to be, and not have like my gingerbread men in some, like, looking really off. So that's what I'm doing. I was working on this the other morning. I really enjoy cross stitch because I love how it looks. And it's a different process from doing needlepoint, and they each have, you know, their difficulties or whatever. Like needlepoint, I feel, goes by a lot faster, but you're just doing one stitch. You aren't having to do one stitch this way and then go back and do the other half of the stitch like you do with cross stitch. But cross stitch can also feel like it goes by a lot faster, since you aren't necessarily, well, depending on the type of pattern you're doing, you aren't filling in all of the background and things like that. But this is also, like I said, in a Ziploc baggie. And I've got a ton of other like Christmassy and fall themed cross stitch patterns that I want to start, but again, I need to get this baby done before I try and start any of those, because some of them are quite big. But you know, I like to make my life difficult. I like to live on the edge with my whips and testing my skill sets. But yeah, so that is it for my needlepoint. But I've also been quilting. How many things can I do at a time? Anyways, I have 2 quilts going right now. One I have most of the fabric cut out for, but I'm holding off starting on sewing it until later, mainly because that particular quilt is my, I'm calling it my guest book quilt. I want to have my guests, well, our guests, Brandon and I's guests at the wedding, sign the back of the quilt and have that be kind of the guest book. And then it's like we get to surround ourselves in love or whatever. I'm very cheesy. But anyways, so I want this quilt to look very professional and have like really great lines and points, and have my sewing very straight and not have to worry about there being some wonky spots or anything like that. So I'm putting off sewing on that until after I finish this other quilt. But here's some footage of the guest book quilt. It's the Expanding Stars quilt pattern. It's by Quilty Love. I got it off of Etsy. It's a wonderful pattern. It's very, it's explained very well, and it makes a lot of sense, and there's a ton of diagrams and things like that, and the pattern is great. And I'm using all Kona fabric solids. So I think it's red, deep red, silver, overcast, and then white as the colors for this quilt. Brandon and I's color palette for our wedding is red and gray, and with silver accents, things like that. So I wanted it to go with the color choices. The red color, one of the reds matches the bridesmaids' dresses and everything. So I'm really excited, and I am looking forward to starting this quilt. I think it'll be a lot of fun, and yeah, and I'm gonna get it professionally quilted because I don't have the stuff to do like long arm quilting here as in at my apartment. And so I'm going to use my other quilt, which is my Card Trick Witchcraft quilt. This is by Myra Barnes, and it was a kit that I got, I think it's called Blueprint now. And like, it was a whole kit. It was the pattern, it was the fabric, everything. And I've had it for a really long time, and I'd started cutting out the fabric pieces, never finished it back when I was in Oxford. And so I've finally started sewing, and I took some footage of it as well. All of my quilting stuff is in our dining room right now. But that's just because that's where the table's high enough for me to cut fabric and things like that, and lay things out and kind of play with it a little bit more. But anywho, yeah, so it's a Halloween themed quilt. It's got these really cute Lily and Loom fabrics that were made specifically for this quilt, for this kit and everything. And it's really, really nice, and it's got a lot of fun new techniques that I haven't done before, and it's been very, very enjoyable, and it's giving me the practice that I need on like working on my straight sewing and getting my seam allowances right, because I'm pretty out of practice. I haven't made a quilt in probably a year and a half, or really sewed in general in a year and a half. But yeah, so I'm working on that, and I'm using it as like my kind of tester quilt. And I'm also, ideally what's going to happen is I get to send the Card Trick Witchcraft quilt off. There's a quilt store around the corner from us, and they do long arm quilting. They have that service, and so I'm going to use the Halloween quilt as a trial run to see how the process works, you know, and see how I like the long arm quilting, stuff like that, before I just dive right in and have that done on the one I want for the wedding. And then I can also kind of find out how long it's going to take. But that also means I have to get this quilt done relatively fast in order to do all of that stuff and have enough time to have my other quilt done for the wedding, which thankfully isn't until November, but this year's going by really fast. And yeah, so I think that's all of my crafting that's been going on recently. In terms of life, it's, you know, Brandon and I have been staying home, and I've been doing a lot of tidying around the apartment, trying to keep things clean. Job search stuff has kind of been halted just because no one's hiring right now, really. Like, there's places that are like hiring, but I don't know if it's like stuff that's really just been sitting there, and they, you know, because everyone's working from home. So how are you going to onboard someone right now unless, you know, you're already qualified, like in the medical industry or something, or you're going to work at Publix. But I'm looking into some other work options that require some certifications and things like that that I can do online. Since, you know, right now we're just kind of sitting around. But the puppies are good. Stella's grown a ton. She's probably getting close to 50 pounds now. She is about to turn 6 months old, and Luna just turned 4 this past week. So, yay, babies. Yeah, and our weather has gotten crazy hot all of a sudden. Like I said earlier, it's been record highs the past 2 days in the mid 80s, which is insane, and it's been really gross outside. It's like walking into soup. So it's been really humid. And we had some pretty gnarly thunderstorms last night, and it was saying the temperature was supposed to drop, but it doesn't, like, there's like a cool breeze, but like if you're out in the sun, it doesn't feel like the temperature's dropped at all. But yeah, that's the nature of living in the South. It's just how it rolls. Pollen is covering everything, so my allergies have been really, really bad, which is sort of unfortunate given the nasty stares when I go to the grocery store and I sneeze or sound like I have a severe runny nose, because my allergies manifest in a post-nasal drip and itchy red eyes and an itchy nose. Like those are my allergy symptoms. It sucks, and everyone gives me a stink eye if I have to like go to the grocery store to get, like, you know, supplies. But, you know, whatever. Just have to grin and bear it and take my Benadryl and my Allegra. But yeah, that's kind of, Brandon's been playing video games and stuff. It's been very, you know, pretty chill for us. But I hope everyone is washing their hands and staying safe and enjoying this time. It's been quite enjoyable for me because I am an introvert. So being able to be at home and do quiet things is really, really nice for me. I've gotten some reading done recently, and I'm almost done with the book, which is really exciting. And it's been nice. It's been like being on vacation, but, you know, it's just, Brandon's pretty much just like forced that he can't do anything, but because he's the one who normally gets me to leave the house. It's bad, but whatever. I like going out to dinner, and that's usually about it. I don't want to do anything else. But anywho, I'm not sure when this will be posted. Today is the 29th of March, but I'm having some technical difficulties involving the fact that my YouTube channel is connected to my old university email. And I think the university has finally like kicked me off the email, or off of, you know, the interwebs or whatever. Even though it's only been like a year that I haven't been a student. But whatever, I had to email the IT people, so I'm hoping I'll hear back from them tomorrow. And see if either they can resolve the issue, if it was just like some weird glitch that's happening, because all the classes and stuff for Ole Miss is online now, or are online now, and I feel like I should still have access to my university stuff since it's only been a year. And, you know, who knows, maybe I'm not going to grad school yet, but, you know, maybe I need my transcripts. I don't even have access to that on my like portal, my university portal, and it keeps telling me my like login information has failed and everything, so it's really, really frustrating. And if they could just give me, if they have, you know, removed my access or whatever, they can give me just like 24 hours of access so I can transfer stuff on my computer, that would be great. and then I don't have to make a new YouTube channel. But basically, if you see this on my normal channel, then that means that it's happened and I was able to, you know, make the adjustments and the IT people were helpful and everything. If not, then I'm probably cursing and very frustrated somewhere in the world, i.e. here, but in the future. But yeah, so hopefully this all gets resolved and I'll be able to, you know, gain access to my YouTube channel. But we'll see what happens there. I was super frustrated earlier and I'm able to kind of laugh about it now that I've like calmed down a bit. But Brandon had to basically like sit me down and be like, you have no control over this right now. There's no point in feeling frustrated and annoyed. And I was like, you are right. Thanks. And yeah, so it's just, I had to do some laundry and then I ate some ramen and I felt better. So it could have been like I needed some food. But anyways, that is it for me. This is probably a very lengthy episode. I tried to be quick, but we'll see what happens. Who knows, this might be a super snazzy podcast because, you know, if I have a ton of time to just edit because I can't upload it, you know, it could be really awesome. So we will see what happens. But thank you all for watching. If you like this, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, whatever. And yeah, I appreciate it when you guys do that. It makes me really happy. I have like a little happy dance inside when that happens. But anywho, I will talk to y'all later. I know it's been a long time, but hopefully with this quarantine stuff, I'll get a lot done and I'll be able to be back here sooner. But thank you. Bye.